welcome everyone, and aloha, like I tend to say here in good old Germany. And happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. This is a topic about all you need to know about the Copilot Studio Stone, and we make a little game out of it. So maybe you have seen already the Dynamics Rockstar Rock and Roll hand. So I've just put that in the chat. So let's see how often you will just spot this one during the presentation. So I think that will be interesting as well. So, but let's thank to our sponsors. Thank you very much. Without them, it wouldn't be possible just to create that amazing event. So we are very thankful to have them on board. Let me introduce myself a little bit. So my name is Bülent Altinsoy. I am living in Germany, but my origin is Turkish because my parents just comes from there. I am an MCT, Microsoft Certified Trainer, since 2021. And in my company, Evanate, where I'm working, I'm a global business application portfolio lead. So I'm in the learning section and maintaining the whole strategic learning for ERP, CRM, and for Power Platform as well. And I've started beginning this year my journey here in the Microsoft community. A very exciting journey, if you ask me. I'm also now a speaker. I speak here, and also blog as well. My blog is that Aloha Guy, because I have been on Hawaii a couple years ago and just take that over and use it on everyone in Germany, which I can find. But obviously the people are very confused and irritated when I do this, but in the community, people just know about this. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I have also a channel, which is called the Multi-Dataverse. And that is all about. So the multiverse exists, but in our context, it's a multi-dataverse, which we're just talking about. So what is the multi-dataverse, which we just today talking all about? So we have a lot of copilots, and I don't know, I can't even count how many copilots we have. Microsoft, some kind of producers, every week a new copilot somehow. But I can just tell you that gets some kind out of control. So where we say it's really the multi-dataverse of madness somehow. So how can we control all that kind of copilots, So there is that dataverse in Microsoft 365 where the copilots are, super wild and crazy, but also in our stack. I mean, this is the Business Application Summit here in the Dynamics 365 world as well. So the question obviously is, what is the multi-dataverse? I can only tell you a quote from the movie. It's a concept about which we know frighteningly little. It is true. So we don't know the era of Copilot, where it just brings. We only know it's so fast, it's exponential, some kind of every time a new Copilot is just coming out, and it's really crazy. So let's try somehow to control it. So, but the question is, can only pro devs control the multi-dataverse? Yeah, is a mighty guy like Thanos the only one who can come in with Azure OpenAI and just can control this one? The question obviously is no. So citizen developers can also control the multi-dataverse, and so Doctor Strange, the little guy here as well. And everyone can just do this. But the question is, as we can see, really confused Thanos, how can we just do this? So let me just break this down. So these are the famous Infinity Stones from the multi-dataverse. There's a Copilot Studio Stone, which just can control about them. So now let's learn about the power of the Copilot Studio Stone, what is important. So first of all, the Infinity Stones are the actions. The actions, what can we do? And we will learn about them. Then we have a level where we have to distinguish between a custom and a first-party Copilot. Then we learn the mighty powers of the Infinity Stones. What are the features in that Copilot Studio Stone? And last but not least, also what kind of options we have, how powerful it is. So now let's start with this one. It is the Power Stone. And with the Power Stone, we can authoring and extending. So we do have our custom Copilots, which we can just create on our own, but we have also the ones from Microsoft, like Copilot for sales, Copilot for service, Copilot for finance, etc. So these are the ones what Microsoft just give us, and they say, maybe with that happy as well. So now, first of all, let's talk about the Copilot, custom Copilot ones, and how can we create them? So first of all, you need so-called topics. So what is a topic? A topic is a branch which you just go step by step, where your Copilot is exactly just doing what you have just, developed there. So it can be a greeting topic, it can be a conversation closing topic, etc., etc. So you can enrich your topic with entities. An entity is a place where you store the variables. So for example, if you're asking, in the topic, someone a name or where you're living and all that kind of stuff, obviously you want to store that information and don't annoy the user asking it again. Oh, wait a second, I forgot. Who are you again? So this is super, super uncool. That's why you can store that information in entities. But since beginning or mid of this year, you have also the voice capability as well. So you can also not only let the things read, but you can also speak it out. And if you're using, for example, customer service, in combination with omnichannel, this is even cooler. So you can just call and your Copilot Studio is just answering right back. This is super cool. Now, building all that kind of things, in the previous product, so before it was called Copilot Studio, it was Power Virtual Agent and was not very successful because you need to build everything on your own and then have just to check it if it's successful, yes or no. So it was not really taken well from the customers. So Microsoft just built something which they're calling the Copilot Builder. So with natural language, you just describe what you want from your Copilot and your Copilot try to implement it for you. So it's then easier. So all the topics will be created automatically, and at the end, it's only little tweaking is what you're just doing. So this is a much better user experience, and people accept that more instead of building everything on their own. But it's getting better. So the topics could have so-called generative answers. That means you have a topic already, which is a conversational boosting one. So you don't need to do anything. You just leave it completely to that generative answers. And then at the end, you just more or less point then to so-called knowledge sources. That knowledge sources can be SharePoint, it can be a public website, it can be files, but it can be also Dataverse and Fabric. So Fabric is the only one which currently is not in public preview, so can't be tested by everyone. But I think once this comes online, this will be super cool. But Dataverse is, and I will also show a demo today with Dataverse. I think this will be super cool for you. I can already guarantee you. But you can also enrich your topics also with so-called actions. So instead, just having, let's say, a knowledge source only, you can also use programmatically Dataverse or a connector or custom connector or skills or flows to get data from somewhere. So, when someone just asking for weather, for example, and this is the most famous one, which you can just find in the internet as action because everyone just uses it in the promo video. This is the one which everyone uses and just, to know about how warm it is, how cold it is, how windy it is, do you need an umbrella and all that kind of stuff. So these are really the nice things what you just need about how you can enrich your custom copilots. Now let's come to your first-party copilots. And your first-party copilots are not so many actions which you can just do. Primarily, you can only do these ones which you can see at the end. And you see also the red asterisk. That means you can only do the ones only a specific one. For example, the 4 which you see, you can only do with a Microsoft 365 Copilot. If you want to use Copilot for sales, for example, then you only have the connector, which you can just do and enrich. So you have to be, you have just to check what is just possible. That's why I have just put in the red asterisk. If you're using a conversational flow, then obviously it goes to the right way, like with the topic. So in that case, it's more or less than the same. So this is the Power Stone, how you can author and extend everything. Now let's talk a little bit about the soul. Every Copilot has to be watching, for your governance and for security. This is the most important part because your Copilots are very chatty, I can already tell you. So if you're not really had a good security model behind, it can tell the things outside, which maybe isn't, meant to be outside. So in that case, what you can just do is, especially these 2 parts, you need to put up a good authentication. And you need to put up a good web channel security. The web channel security is, for example, you allow the people only by logging in, they need to log in to get access to it. The authentication is an important one, especially if you work, for example, with SharePoint. You need to create manual authentication, otherwise you will not be really successful and happy with that. So this is important just for you to know. So then we do have also this Infinity Stone. This is important. It's a mind stone for understanding and for grounding. One of the success stories is of Copilot Studio is it supports multiple languages. Now, that wasn't possible with the previous one, so you can only, or you couldn't only select one. Now you can switch between languages. But to be honest, it's not that successful. If you ask me, what I can see in our project so far, more importantly, is a model understanding. So you do have the natural language understanding model there out of the box, especially if you have no idea how this all works and you purchase, a license for Copilot Studio. This helps you, and you can already do some kind of tricks. But the most important part are the GPT models, which you can just put in. So currently they have been updated to the newest one, so GTP4. Previously it was GTP 3.5 Turbo. And I think in the close future, they will be also updated to the multi-model one. So in that case, you can just not only enter text, you can also enter any kind of picture, any kind of video, any kind of these kind of things to get results. So we are really close to this as well. And I think this will be really, really cool. The time stone is one which currently is a little bit limited, but I think after Ignite, this will be really cool because you will get much more analysis features there. So currently, these are the ones which you just know from the Power Virtual Agent times. So you have a customer satisfaction score, engagement resolution, escalation, abundance store. Based on that, you can just check how good your Copilot is. With the next topic, I will just go a little bit deeper into this with autonomous agents. This will become much more important. You will get much more statistics with the report there, which helps you much more to analyze everything. Then you do have the Space Stone. The Space Stone just gives you the chance to integrate everything. So what is the difference between this one and this one? So, well, this is what you can just more or less develop outside of it and then can edit some kind of. So what you have is your plugins, what you can do. So we have low-code plugins which you can integrate. You can, of course, integrate Power Automate as well. You can integrate your HTTP connectors as well, but you can also use the power of MS Graph, so Microsoft Graph, because this is also very powerful how to get data into your Copilot Studio to enrich your Copilot, to answer the users everything what should be answered. Last but not least, we do have this one here, the orchestration one. So orchestrating is very important, especially in terms of agents. First of all, let's talk about the channels. So if you want to publish, you have several channels where you can just publish that. So for example, you do have the Teams channel, you have your own website, you can have different other channels where you can publish that. And if it's sometimes not working out, that your Copilot is not answering everything, then in that case, you can even hand off to a real agent. And I'm using the term agent only just to confuse you, because Microsoft is using that so often that it's super confusing at the moment. But hopefully I will deconfuse you in a couple of minutes regarding this one. Now, talking about the agents one, the agent one is important, and I have dedicated a whole slide for this. So wait a second. What are Copilot agents? Microsoft is just throwing an array around with that kind of wordings. So let's now try to understand what it is. So these pictures, what I have here, especially this one here, this is from the Power Platform community call in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago. This is from Dwayne Robinson. So the guy who is really just doing is the guy who just understands everything regarding Copilot Studio. He more or less breathes Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio he said the name will not change, what you will see in the different slide. Yeah, the naming will a little bit change. So the custom Copilots will be in the future either agents or custom agents, and we will call the extensions Copilot agents. So if you're not confused now, then you are a superhero to me. But to be honest, this is some kind of confusing, but you will see that in the demo, hopefully it will be a little bit then easier. So you see already some pictures I just have put in. So demo gods, hopefully it works out and I can just show you a little bit of a demo how that looks like. So we will have the distinction between end users and IT users and developers. So this will be the so-called Copilot Studio platform. So some genius just write down Copilot Studio platform. That was the only slide I just found it there. I just take it at the moment. So this is our normal Copilot Studio environment where we just do our development, where we also do some kind of magic today there. And then we will have the end users. And the end users can create lots of Copilots. The governance and the IT people will be very happy about this, I'm pretty sure. But you can currently use that in your Copilot, in your BizChat, and also in SharePoint so far. So today we will see a demo in BizChat, and then we'll see how it looks like live. Last but not least, this have been dropped last week, and this is the autonomous agent. And this is really the development of something which comes live in November. I think after the Ignite, I think we will then have the access to it. I would wonder, or maybe a couple of days before. What is autonomous agent? So this is real now, a real digital assistant now for you. So this is what Copilots usually should be. So in that case, what you see on this picture is you can just describe in natural language what you want from your Copilot. And at the end, what comes out of the results is that on the right side. So I give you an example. Let's say you're getting an email, and I'm getting a lot of emails during the day, and I can't read them because I have just work to do. If I'm working, maybe an important email just comes, which have to be answered immediately, but I can't because I have other things to do. What an autonomous agent can do in the background, grab this email, check all the important details, find the person who is now able to answer this and work with that. And the autonomous agent is then forwarding this information to that person. And then in that case, this person can just work with that. So it will help us, that our work then, for example, in my case, I wouldn't be the bottleneck anymore. So autonomous agent would really save me in that case. So let's see how this will work out in the future. I'm really, really curious about when we can test it live in November. Now, demo gods and so on. Let's see how good this all works. So I'm starting now with the first demo in that case. And the first demo would be the agent builder. Well, let's see. Let me just bring this away. So this is the agent builder. So if you have BizChat, something like this, so in that case, you just go in and say, I want to create now an agent. You just go in here. I can already tell you, test. I'm just writing something completely things out. It didn't work previously. Oh, that looks good. So maybe we can just try these things out. Awesome. Let's do this. I have prepared something. So because one hour before, it really didn't work. So let me just see if this works out. That would be really cool. Otherwise, I've prepared something new. So in that case, I have now something like your Microsoft Power Platform Learning Expert. You assist in providing guidance and Power Platform fundamentals and also guide a user through the relevant learning paths. The scope of assistance is to guide through data-driven, etc., etc. So that would be the description. Let me just put this. This is the description. Let me see input, what you will do. So it really works. I'm so happy. You can't imagine that. So specific tone in that case. So the specific tone would be something like maintain a friendly, professional, supportive tone. Let's say something like this. And then I'm just giving him now instruction in that case. So instruction. So that's what I just have written down before. So, and he shall all get all that information from Microsoft Learn in that case. So you see already, he just put in, he's now a Power Platform Learning Expert. And this is already, the build agent, which we have. Getting started with Power Platform, learning paths for deployment, data-driven insights, etc., etc. So if I'm just clicking this one, what are the steps to earn certifications Power Platform? So if I'm clicking like this, so my expectation would be now that he's just getting me something out of that. So here we go. Now it works. Getting all that kind of information, what you have. So PL100 is a little bit outdated. I'm sorry. It's not really, anyhow, PL200, PL400, PL600 is really good. So if you can click on this one and how to get started with Power Platform, then you'll see in that case, he will also give you some kind of a good answer. So in that case, This helps just to build. And you see, I have just built it, everything in seconds. Okay, the text was prepared, maybe not seconds, but if you just go to the configuration part, you see everything have been put in here. I can also use a nice icon. That's why I had that flat icon page open, which I can use. You can also enter some kind of knowledge if you want to point to more specific place where more of the information shall be taken out. I think this is super cool. Unfortunately, I can't save this one because it's in the environment where the IT doesn't allow me to do this. But for the demo like this, it would be already really cool. So now let's go and go to the Copilot Studio platform, how they're now calling that in one only slide. And I just give you an understanding, and let me just look at the time. I think we're still good in time. So what we can do is we can just use the Copilot builder just to create something. So if I go and create, and hopefully this will not take so long, Here we go. So new Copilot. Let me just click on this one, and you do have some kind of a conversation. It's similar what you have seen in the previous one. So if you want to say something like, I want to have a Starbucks guide in Wellington. So left, super, yeah. Tone is friendly. I can also make funny and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, tone is friendly. Once you just say something bad, tone is super bad and all that kind of stuff, he just stops sometimes and doesn't talk with you. Then he's insulted some kind of. So what kind of other information I could need? So maybe I just point to the website of Starbucks Wellington, for example. Here we go. Let me see. Not directly Wellington, maybe, but let me just take this one. It's good. So here we go. This is well, I get the information from here. Here we go. And now we've seen that he has now built this everything for me. And on the right side, you see all the information which we just have point so far. And now I can say, let's create this one. So in that case, you will see that I have created in that environment my Copilot within 5 minutes, which wasn't possible with Power Virtual Agent before, in that case. So let me just go in here, and now the description and the instruction will be loaded. So you have here on the right side now, I can just type something in. Okay, cool. Can you give me a location in downtown to drink coffee? Now let's see what will come out. So, absolutely. Starbucks location downtown Wilton is 1 Willis Street. It's a great spot to enjoy your favorite coffee, relax, etc., etc. So what's now new is every time they're writing now down AI generated content may be incorrect. I don't like it that you just put it down into the text, but okay, we take it as given at the moment. So if you would now do something like this again, and let's see if you will generate exactly the same one, or maybe it is sometimes different. So you see the text has changed a little bit. So this time it just suggests me Starbucks located in 60 Manor Street. It's a cozy place. So this is the power of generative AI. So every time the things are changing, it generates text. And this could be something that people in project maybe doesn't like. They just want to have a more reliable text. They say can't be controlled some kind of text, but also still use the power of generative AI. And the answer is partly you can just do this. And this is my next demo, which I just want to show you to you. So it's about currency. So I have been on vacation in Turkey. So usually we're using the base currency in Europe, which is euro, but in Turkey it's the lira. So I can't pay the taxi driver when I just go from the airport to the hotel. It's just not possible. So I need to exchange money, and exchange money is like gambling, to be honest. So you can lose a lot of money, some kind of. So you need a good rate of that. Obviously, you can just go to the European Central Bank and you can every time look for the good course and so on, but this is manual work. No one wants to do manual work. So what I have done is I have skyscraped all that information from this website. And at the end, I have a data source, which is a Dataverse table. And while I'm just using a Power Automate flow to skyscrape everything, I have all that information here. Also the information about the, where it is. So currently I can't see it, but believe me if I say there's also the New Zealand dollar as well, but I can't at the moment see it. But we will try it out. So either you just type something in, but I make it short. I have built a nicer way of prompting. Let me just do and use that as prompting just to show that you can, produce every time reliable text. So this is Clippy. For me, Copilot is nothing else as a stirred version of Clippy, if you ask me. So in that case, I have put in New Zealand dollar as well. I just put and click on this, and then we will see how much I will get if I would exchange €1 today. So while he's still thinking about that, so you will get for €1 nearly 2 New Zealand dollars of that. So that's great. Seemed like that I really make some money of this. And I'm just asking, do you want another currency conversion? Let us now try to find out how we just do this. Maybe from a technical point of view, this might be interesting for you just to know. So let me just go to my Dataverse prompt, which I just have created. And if you just scroll down a little bit, what's happening is here, it comes here. And I tend to say natural language is a new development, low-code development power to citizen developer. If I click on this one, it is pretty simple. I'm describing with words from the prompt, and everyone really should, develop prompting skills, because this is a new cool skill which you can develop. If you're good in prompting, the future is yours. And what I'm just doing is look for any record where the currency, in this case, the New Zealand dollar, is equal to the table name, which I just have skyscraped, which I have scraped. And then I just only say summarize by the following text. Every time you should say €1 corresponds to this one spot and this currency. And I'm getting every time this exact sentence out. So let me try again with the next example. Let's do the Turkish one, because if you see how much money you can get, you feel really like a billionaire there. So look at this. This time it's a little bit faster because we have run through the flow to the prompt. You will get nearly 38 Turkish lira. So you can throw it down and feel like at the moment like a billionaire, I can tell you. So, but not good for the people there, obviously. They live the miserable situation for them, unfortunately. But this is how you can just build this. And I have also built in, an updater with a Power Automate flow. If you're interested in that, just mention that in the chat. I have also a blog post for this, and you can just build it on your own. It's really, really cool. Another example, which I also would like to show you, is that you can use Copilot also in combination with Canvas apps. So I do have an example here. Oh, let's start a free trial. Okay, why not? Next day, next chance, request a license. Why not? Or start, here we go. Today, things which you don't have expected during your demo. Awesome, good. So now this is some kind of a learning app. It's not that interesting. So what is interesting is if you just go in here, and I can now change the color of the Canvas app in the back. So I'm just going to my settings key here. And then I'm just going, and what I built is some kind of, you can change the color. So if you go in here, for example, I can change the color of this button very easily. So you don't have to do this manually. So if I just type something in like this one, you see I've changed it. I'm not a good color guru in that case. It doesn't work that good. I can use also the color slider here, maybe, and just find my favorite color. Maybe I just want to do something like this and click on this button here, and then I change this one. So, but to be honest, this is lame. Maybe if you want to work towards more like branding, maybe you have a client, Microsoft has a typical brand colors. Maybe like my company, Evanate, has a typical orange colors. your company can have different other colors. Now, just imagine that you can use here a Copilot for this. And in that case, Copilot has now a database table where we have stored all that kind of color codes, which maybe we can also scrape them down or can, use Copilot and can add them automatically. So he just asked me now for color palette. So for example, if I say, now I just want to change that to night, change colors to night. And now he's updating something in the background. So with Canvas apps, something you still have to do something like this. So I have hidden here a button. Now look at the button color, which just change it here, and also at the admin color here. So what's happening? So now you've seen the color have been now changed. And this is good if you want, sell that to other clients, how easily now you can change the appearance. Or maybe you just want to have a development app, maybe you want to have a test app, a production app, then based on the colors you can change. And if you just go back, you see everywhere now the colors have been changed. So previously everything was orange, now you have changed it with the power of Copilot. And if you just say something like update to sky, I have no idea if sky is something which I just put in. No. So currently I can't remember what kind of colors I just have put in as well. But that is at the moment you will not find anything there. So maybe show me all color palettes. Maybe then I'm remembering. Yeah. Good. He's working. Let me just abort this one and came with this one. And let me see what it will just show me from my database table. Maybe then we can see another color change as well. Let me just go back here. C. Okay, cool. I can just update to C, right? So, or navy. Update to C. So now he's updating this one, and you will see that the colors here changing again. So it's updating the table in the background. If you're using this, voila, boom. Within seconds. Just imagine with autonomous agents, maybe this can also be some kind of automated, and this is maybe much more cool and all that kind of stuff. Good. Just looking at the time, this would be my demos to use so far. So just to see a little of the power which you can just do to use Copilot and how effective it is. And you've seen it doesn't take so much long just to create your own Copilot there. Let me just go back. And the demo gods were really, really good today to us. Thank you. And the question just is, when shall I use Copilot Studio? Or when is the time just to jump over to Azure AI Studio? You see a grumpy Thanos here in that case, and he doesn't want to get unemployed. He just says, hey, there must be some kind of a reason for me in this life. So what can I do? So you can just follow up with this kind of table as a guide. So if you're building your own Copilot, there's a lot of question which you just have to go through. So for example, if you want, this one here, my Copilot does not require full DevOps development. So if you really don't care about that kind of things, and you say, yes, go, but if you say, this is very important, we take it serious, with all that kind of ALMs and deployments, then obviously you just land with that no, and at the end you land with Azure AI Studio. So the thing with Azure AI Studio is you have just to develop much more things. It's much more maintenance at the end. It's much more expensive for clients, but it really depends on what the requirements are. And that's why with that kind of table, you can really just speak out of that. And then you can just see, you have just to go in a workshop through this with a client. A client can't know about these, all that kind of stuff. Good. That would be more or less the end. I have rushed through because I didn't know how much time I have, but let me just tell you a little bit about the limitations, which I didn't have now prepared an additional slide, but I can just do that with wording. So the question is Copilot Studio every time the right choice? And I'm a Copilot Studio fan, I have to say, no, it isn't. So it really depends on the use case, not only the ones which you just see here on the screen. It has limitations. I have spoken now with a few people. It sometimes doesn't behave like it shall behave. For example, a Copilot, you have just to be very careful in terms of security. You can't just use, for example, a SharePoint site or Dataverse site and just try to hide. Or maybe in a project I have just seen, someone just pointed to a public website, but they wanted to hide some answers of the public website. and still Copilot have sometimes compiled and generated something out of that. So the best way is every time limit your source, only point to sources where your Copilot shall talk about and not go above, and just trust that no, Copilot will not speak about that. Oh, I'm trusting Copilot. This will not happen. This is one thing which you definitely have to consider. Another one is definitely every time when Microsoft just pushes new features and so on, they might not work fully, but clients are always hyped about that. So knowledge sources, for example, have been shown in May, but didn't work out of the box. I mean, there was still that preview tag, but some people just super curious and try these things out. These are the things which I can really recommend to everyone. So especially if you have the preview tag, try these things out if they're really working out for you, and don't use them in production till the preview tag is some kind of away. What is important is also the performance. Just check, if your internet connection is fast enough. I've seen also clients have just complained, hey, it's not really fast enough. And then we have identified that the internet was super slow, for example. That can also be a root cause for something. And these at the end, this is the sum of things of experience we just made, leads at the end to, I don't like generative AI. I don't know if Copilot Studio is the right tool. But, with that kind of knowledge, with that kind of best practices we just have also collected in our company, you can just really avoid that kind of bad experience. Because one time clients have that bad experience, they never forget that. I had that in one project. I said accidentally something wrong. The client followed me with that to the rest of the project for a couple of months, only because I made a little mistake. We're humans, we can all make mistakes, but that was some kind of, at the end I laugh about that, it was funny, but at the end, clients remember everything, what you say, so be careful. Good, so we are more or less at the end. So in that case, hope you had some fun. If you have any kind of questions, please shoot me and ask me anything. Except lottery numbers, I have no idea. Even Copilot Studio can't generate the lottery numbers for you to be successful next Saturday. Everyone's so quiet. Sharon, you have a question.
Hello. It was wonderful. Very excellent demonstration.
Thank you.
So where do you actually see Copilot moving now into agentification? Because, thinking about the keynote speech that we had that was given at the very beginning, how do you actually see Copilots actually changing with the whole over 2025 with the whole agentification agenda?
So what agentification is, so first of all, Copilots will now remember the things what you're just telling about. So you don't need necessarily that entities and all that kind of stuff. It will remember on their own what kind of conversation you have. Agentification, you can have longer running Copilots in the future. So one of the most famous examples Microsoft always brings in, but this is the true one, is if you onboard someone, and I don't know if that ever happened to me, but when I onboard 14 years ago with Avonate, the people just forgot about me. They didn't know that I exist in that company. So our processes are now much better, but still, you can forget people because you don't have the time. You have project. You are overloaded with work. You can't have the time just to, guide your newbie in that case. And a Copilot, an agentified Copilot could do this. He can be your partner for the whole year. It starts, and then in that case, just ask, do you have a project? Yes, no. If you don't have a project, how about did you do your upskilling? This is the certification path you can just do while you're just waiting. Or maybe here are some projects for you. Just select one of them. Maybe something is, suitable and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of a more grown-up Copilot can help you because this is a longer running process at the end. All our Copilots today, it's not longer running, it's just in one chat, and when you close the chat, it's over. So autonomous agents will run longer, but I have seen an example of that they're running really over, let's say, nearly 1 year. And this is where we should come and where they help us at the end much more. Hopefully we'll see that 2025. Definitely not this year anymore. If we see it this year, it's only in early access. but I'm not an MVP. I have no idea what Microsoft is just doing. I have no insights to this. So in that case, I'm pretty sure 2025 we will see much more regarding this one. And with that exponential rate we're just currently seeing, I would not wonder that we also see it some kind of in production then.
Thank you. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Good, great question. Anyone else with a question? No. Then I just point you on the left side, drink with me a beer. This is where you see all my my information in LinkedIn, in YouTube, in Sessionize. And if you're interested, I have started a Copilot Studio newsletter. I'm just finding every week super cool videos from a lot of users, MVPs, but also super keen new talents, which are producing awesome videos. So it's a really great source just to learn, and I can really recommend you this one. And not only because I have just created that one. So initially I just created this one because I just needed to collect everything for an internal training, which I just wanted to build. But at the end, I thought maybe 20 will subscribe. But today we reach over 1,500. So it seems like there's some kind of quality there. So hope you also subscribe and have fun because the videos really help with super great use cases there to understand the value of the Copilot Stone.